Hey everybody, just a quick follow-up to the video that John and I made together. I'm all over the place when it comes to talking about these bozos because they're just so baffling. One of the things that he read and mentioned was the verse where he said to love the Lord as you love yourself. And then it went on to say that you are supposed to love your wife as you love yourself. Well, we all know that's a problem right there. Time out. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but if you have already come to realize that the person you are with is a narcissist, praying, going to church, doing all of that, it just doesn't matter. It's not going to change anything. I didn't know all of this for a long time. I didn't know this for years. That was why I got sidetracked when John was reading that passage and he talked about how all the different forms of abuse and that one of them was religious abuse, and how he tried to use that against me there at the end because he knew it was a real hot button for me. He knew that my religion was something that I held very near and dear. So he tried to use it against me, and I got distracted by that and wanted to talk about that. This part escaped me. Loving the Lord as you love yourself, yeah, that's a real problem for a narcissist because they don't love themselves. We all know that they are deeply conflicted, that they have massive insecurities, that they have all kinds of mental issues. Therefore, they treat us and their children and the people around them like garbage. They don't love themselves. They never could, never will. It's just an impossibility. If you have already identified the person that you're with as a narcissist, it doesn't matter how much you pray and journal, and none of that will change anything. It's not going to change the person that you're with. It's not going to change the circumstances. So then we go back to everything that John and I discussed, how you just need to get yourself out of that situation because it's a losing battle. There's no point in it. They're not going to change. They don't love themselves. They can't love anybody because they don't love themselves. They can't even stand themselves, truth be told. And all of that arrogance and all of that condescension and the way they look down at people and talk down to people is all just a facade. And we all know that now. That's why we're here. We're discussing that. We all know that that's nothing but a put on. It's just a mask that they wear. I felt that it was important to come back to that, cover that part of that verse about how they're to love the Lord as they love themselves, love their wives as they love themselves. That's just not happening. That's a dead end. It's not going to happen. I wanted to bring that up because I was like, I told John, I was like, I forgot to mention that. And he felt that it was important enough to come back to it, talk about it, and make sure that I mentioned it because I did express to him how much time I spent praying and journaling, literally years, praying and journaling about my marriage, about the person that I was married to, about the changes that I prayed for, the desire to have a better, healthier marriage. That was all tied into my prayers. That was all tied into everything that I was asking God for. And it just never came to fruition. And it had nothing to do with me. It had nothing to do with God. It had nothing to do with my prayers or lack of, or the way I was praying. You're not going to change a narcissist. They are who they are, through and through. It was important enough to come back to it. Ciao for now.